Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
What lies inside all of us is more than data. It's life. What's flowing through America's veins is its diversity. We ask for 1 million individuals to come forward and stand on this landmark in history. All of us are different, and it's those very differences that will lead to answers for generations to come.
Hello, everyone. This is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening in Birmingham. Today, I have the honor and pleasure. I got Dr. Shauntice Allen. She is the Community Engagement Core Lead for the Southern Network for All of Us Research Program. How you doing today, Dr. Allen?
Doing great, Jarvis. Happy to be here.
Great. So like I told each and every one of you that I am decided to participate in the All of Us Research Program to document my progress going through this great research study. But I wanted to bring one of the head people all today to kind of answer a couple of questions about this program and also encourage everybody that's watching this podcast to encourage you to participate or someone you know to participate. So Dr. Allen, let's just start with the first question. What is the All of Us Research Program?
Yeah, so the All of Us Research Program is a fairly large initiative that is hosted or kind of managed by the National Institutes of Health. And it's focused on looking at precision medicine. And essentially what that means is we know that treatments and procedures and opportunities for drug discovery is really honestly based on you as a person, as an individual. So it's not a one size fits all type of initiative. So the All of Us research program is really focused on precise medicine or personalized medicine and taking into account where you live, your genetic makeup, your lifestyle, the things that you do, your family's health history. And taking all of that into account, it's really about trying to speed up and accelerate health research and the way that we actually treat people and how we do medicine. So it's all about accelerating that work in a very precise and individualized manner. So the point is to really bring people into the study, into the program that are diverse and different in order to understand what are the best treatment options, what are the best procedures, what's the right dose of a medicine that we need to be giving an individual. So the All of Us Research Program is thinking about all of that as people are enrolling into the program.
So where is UAB's role in the program?
So UAB is involved in the All of Us Research Program as one of the what they call the health providing organizations or an HPO. It's one of the sites for the All of Us Research Program. This is a national initiative across the country. UAB is involved, honestly, in heading up and leading the Southern Network, which is consisting of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. So we are at UAB, we're enrolling individuals at various sites across the greater Birmingham area. We're also working with partners across the state of Alabama and obviously working with partners in those other two states that I mentioned as well. So UAB is an integral part of the All of Us Research Program.
Okay, so what are some of the steps to participate in the program?
Well, the first step is, you as an individual, you make a decision as to say, yes, I want to participate in this. So it truly, it comes from you first, from the volunteer first, the participant first. And notice that I said that I call this the All of Us Research Program, not the All of Us Research Study, because participants are very much a part of kind of decision making and how the program actually operates and rolls out. So it's we call it a program versus a study because there are participants that are a part of the decision-making process across the spectrum of this, from how the language that we use on flyers, how we actually consent people into the study, into the program. Participants are a part of that. So they're partners in this. But how one becomes involved is you say yes. You say, I want to participate in the All of Us research program. And then you have to consent. You have to give permission to do that. And it's a permission that doesn't stop just at you signing your name on a consent form. The informed consent process happens throughout the entire program. So if you decide I don't want to be a part of this at some particular step in the program, you can not be a part of it. And it will have no bearing at all on what you've done prior. But the first step is to say, yes, I want to do this.
Oh, okay.
And then step 2, honestly, is once you say, yes, I want to do it, then you have to consent. So there's an opportunity for you to understand and read and learn what it is that you're actually saying yes to. And then there's a physical exam or physical measurements that are taken. So you would go to one of the sites to do that, or we could actually come to a particular place for that to happen as well. And we've done that in some rural areas where we've taken a bus and we've gone out and we have done the physical measurements where people are. So those are kind of the first 3 pieces of this. So saying yes, consenting, doing your physical measurements, and then there's some surveys also that one completes. And you may do that a little bit over time. And then from there, we'll continue to engage and touch base with participants over time.
Okay, so what kind of information I guess you answered my next question. You get the physical measurements and then also complete the survey. What kind of information will I receive back from the results?
So back, you would, there are a few things that you would get back. One of them is genetic information. So okay. you could receive hereditary information. You could receive ancestral information. And again, these are all things that you have to say, yes, I want to receive. Those are a couple of examples. You also could, and I'm gonna quickly go here. You could also receive information that includes, obviously you have access to your own health records, but another thing that you have access to, if there is something that you want to know more about from the DNA piece, there's opportunity to talk with a genetic counselor for free at no charge to the participant to learn more either about a trait or something that you have a question about with the ancestral piece. There's an opportunity to talk with a genetic counselor there. So you're getting a rich, really individualized pieces of information back as a participant. And then there's just plenty of information on the website about what the program is doing, what kinds of new research questions a researcher may be asking. As I mentioned, participants are a part of this program throughout the process.
Yeah, so I'm glad when you was telling me that. How does this differ from like clinical testing when you go to the doctor and just get normal blood work and lab work?
So when you go to the doctor and you get normal blood work, they may do something called a CBC, and they're looking at, your glucose levels, and they're looking at your white cell counts and your red blood cell counts and your hemoglobin, those kinds of things. And that same kind of information certainly would be coming out of the All of Us program, but the All of Us study is also our program is looking at genetic information as well. So there is the opportunity to learn more about a again, genetic traits,
Mhm.
Your complete kind of makeup of you.
Mhm.
There's that opportunity to do that, and you don't always do that in a regular physician's visit. And because there's that opportunity for you to learn about genetic variants or differences or mutations in your own blood sample, then there's opportunity to talk again to a genetic counselor about it if you choose to do so, or if you choose to get that information, which allows you to go back and talk to your own family doctor
Mhm.
about things, or your own family about what you've learned. So there's a lot of opportunity to really kind of to information share and really have real substantive conversations with your healthcare provider as well as your family about what you learned from the All of Us DNA results.
Okay, so I know a lot of people probably watching right now, and with, of course, about like sharing information. What is the All of Us program doing to ensure privacy and data security?
A lot.
Okay.
Quite a bit. So the All of Us research program is highly and acutely aware of people's privacy of their information. So
Okay.
there is no, and there's a lot of things in place in terms of protecting people's information. First of all, removing of names. There's no names on anything at
Mhm.
all. Before a researcher could ever see it. So even myself, as someone who does research, if I was interested in a particular, I don't
Mhm.
know, something, let's say I was interested in some kind of, maybe the reason why someone may have nearsightedness or something,
Mhm.
I will never know who any of these people are.
Mhm.
That's not shared. There's a lot of internal and strict policies that the government, because the National Institutes of Health is a
Mhm.
government entity,
Yes.
that are put in place in order to prevent misuse of data. So people have to be trained on even how to utilize the data that the All of Us research program has. If you don't go through the training, you don't have access to it. And then there are just steps to that, and there's certain pieces of information that you may never have access to as a researcher. It's highly, highly, highly secure in that manner. Everything is stored in terms of just information, obviously just on protected machines. There are just all kinds of kind of safeguards in place so that information just can't be misused or shared in some particular manner. So yeah, there's some pretty strict things in place in terms of how the data is de-identified and then who
Mhm.
actually has access to it.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to I like to call it my little cheat sheet, but there's
Okay.
on the website, there's a FAQ page, everyone, that I definitely tell everybody definitely check out because it literally answers just about every question.
Okay.
But it was one thing I want to go back, and it had like, what types of DNA results can All of Us give me? And I looked at some of the answers they gave was about genetic ancestry, traits, whether you have increased risk of developing a serious health condition, like certain cancers, heart disease, and how your body reacts to certain medicines. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, so again, there's the type of information that one could get back is genetic ancestry,
Mhm.
genetic traits.
Mhm.
Um, you mentioned like there's a disease risk
Mhm.
type piece, and then there's that it's like what you talk about medicines and whatnot. So again, the point is for you to be able to talk to a professional about this. So the genetic counseling piece, again, is an important aspect of utilizing that information and talking with someone who can help you interpret the results. So that would not be my job to do. That would be someone who's trained in genetic counseling to do that with you. Also, there's opportunity to take that information back to one's own physician and
Mhm.
say, I have some questions about this particular thing. Let's talk about it. And I think that's a really good thing that opens up lines of communication between a patient and a provider that may not would have happened if they were not a part of the All of Us program. But there are though that kind of information, I would say it's really important for one to understand that you need to talk. There's an opportunity to talk to someone who can help you interpret and understand what it means. So I just don't feel like you have to walk away and be like, I don't know what this is. And this says that I'm not supposed to take this kind of medicine. No, you need to talk to your doctor about that too, before you just go off and not take something that you probably should be taking, or you want to have some more conversation about before you stop.
And I know a lot of you are probably watching and thinking like, don't take this information like it's a death sentence. Like, it's like, oh my God, like I got this. And I think I'm really, it's look at it more as, I guess from my interpretation of it, like early detection, early awareness that you normally wouldn't get. Like if you knew that what conditions, health situations you'll have at age 50, at age 40, it gives you a chance to really be aware and maybe change those habits, healthy habits and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really important, what you just mentioned about just kind of the prevention aspect of this. No, these results are definitely not death sentences. And some things, you just may just learn they don't have any health bearing at all. Mm-hmm. You may just learn that you have a genetic disposition to have dimples mm-hmm. in your family. That's not a death sentence to have cute dimples on the side of your face. But there are other things that may be actionable, or something that needs to be more discussion about. There may need to be more testing or screening of, or there needs to be earlier screening of something. Those kinds of things, that's important to know, because something can be done. So if you are, let's say that you learn that you have, genetic mutation for some kind of, it could be anything, maybe some kind of gastrointestinal type mm-hmm. of thing, where you may just, you would want to know that, because you may need to start having colonoscopies a little bit earlier than the recommended age. That doesn't mean that you have colorectal cancer. It just means that you need to be looking for things a little bit earlier, or making sure that you're doing screenings on a regular basis, that kind of thing. So again, this is not death sentence information. This is actually helpful mm-hmm. information. And we want people to really kind of see it as such, and talking with their healthcare providers, those trusted sources of information. Again, there's opportunity to talk with genetic counselors if one so chooses to do that through the All of Us program as well.
Okay, well, let me get to the biggest elephant in the room while we're having this discussion about, the All of Us research program and just research programs in general. Let me do a two-part question. Why is diversity important to this research program, and why should communities of color, and we're two African Americans, participate in this program? And based on past history with communities of color and the medical industry, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, back to, there is no one size that fits all, and we are a diverse country of people made up of all kinds of folks from everywhere. And this particular research program is important to have a diverse group of participants in it, because first of all, we know that there are people who have not been represented fully in biomedical research. And so we need to know we need to understand what are types of treatment options, procedures, opportunities for drug development for folks that have not been a part of research programs before. So there's this welcoming of diversity from that perspective. But then also, in order to really just do health care and medicine better, you got to have different kinds of people in these types of programs in order to understand diet or what is the best dosage of a particular medication for, an African American woman who is 50 versus a white woman who is the same age. Like we got to have the diversity in these programs in order to understand and be better prepared for delivering healthcare in these very precise manner.
And the biggest thing too, I want to mention that, you always hear the slogan, health is wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And the information that you all are giving, like, especially like the DNA information, like if you went outside and tried to get this would cost, and maybe you can back this up with me, thousands of dollars that you're literally getting, I wouldn't say for free, but.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's value right there in that. I don't know about you, but I don't go around just getting genetic testing done, all the time when I go to the doctor. So it is, that definitely in itself is return of value to a participant. And then also, again, the things that we're learning and will continue to learn from the diversity of participants in the All of Us research program is priceless, to be honest with you. I mean, you can't really put a price on knowing that a particular medication or even a device works really well with a 25 to 44-year-old individual versus something else. So it's those kinds of results or discovery or information coming from the All of Us program is important as well. I will say this real quickly. I was watching the news yesterday and I saw a story about a young man he was a wrestler in high school, and he had an eating disorder. And his mother wasn't aware that this was going on because most of the screening and most of the work that we understand around eating disorders is with women, with females, not males. And clinicians are looking at the number of missed menstrual cycles with women to determine whether or not there may be something happening with an eating disorder. Well, you wouldn't be able to do that with a male. So I thought that was just an interesting story about how we need to know more about eating disorders with young men, because this particular guy, he was like, he was very acutely aware of his weight because he was an athlete, but he wasn't really talking about that with his family. His parents weren't really looking for that. His doctors weren't looking for that. But an eating disorder can cause a lot of health concerns, a lot of health issues. And this was a young man that we were talking about. So back to just needing diversity of people in the program, because there's so many things that we don't know, or that we know for a particular subgroup of people and we don't know for another. And just using that as a general example of why it's important for all kinds of folks to be in the All of Us research program.
Now, I know I mentioned health is wealth, but I guess another question, if somebody's watching this, is, will I get paid for doing this?
So there is currently one receives a $25 incentive for enrolling into the program and doing the initial consenting and the physical measurement piece. But we're also looking at ways to continue to incentivize people to remain with the project. So there are some small pilot projects that are going on looking at incentives and whether or not that keeps people engaged. But I will also say too, the return of the information itself, the ability to, just be connected to this work that's ongoing, because the All of Us research program is not focused on a particular illness or issue. It's a lot of different things that can come out of that. And I think that is an incentive. And I realize that, the financial piece and kind of hard cash and having something in hand is important too. But at the same time, there's value in just this wealth of information that's coming out of the program itself. And I would encourage people to look at that as just another form of an incentive as well.
Okay, and something else, I guess maybe two more questions. One, will any researchers contact me? And two, will this information be shared with any of my health insurance companies?
No, researchers are not contacting you. Again, that can't happen. So there's no identifying information that researchers receive. And there is something called the researcher workbench that's a part of the All of Us program, where people can actually kind of pose questions and say, I'm really interested in whether or not some kind of nasal spray would be helpful with dry eyes or something like that. And so then there's an opportunity to actually receive data, people who may have dry eye, but you don't know who they are, and you don't contact them at all. So there is no contact between researchers and participants. And no, your information in terms of it being shared with an insurance company, back to just privacy and data security, no, that does not happen. There are the All of Us program, certainly, again, like back to just being very highly, highly aware of the protection and privacy of people's information. There's so many federal policies and laws that are in place where that just can't happen. So no, you're, sharing of information like that to others is not how the program works. And again, because there's we don't want people's information at all to be misused in any kind of way. So there's so many checks and balances in place in terms of not happening and it not being shared in that way.
Okay, and then as I mentioned before too, and to all the viewers that, I'm participating in the program myself. So I'm gonna try throughout the process to document my journey. And one of the cool things about it, I love the dashboard. They kind of would show the results as it goes. So I'm gonna try to show you all as much of the results as I can about some of my results of going through the research program. Dr. Alice, any final thoughts you would like to tell people?
I'm curious to know what drew you to participate or become enrolled in the All of Us research program.
Well, actually, there was a study when I went to my checkup maybe like 6 months ago, and there was it was a study it was a table outside in Kirkland Clinic, and it was called Emerge. And it was that study, it was like, and the doctor kind of recommended it too when I was going through my 6-month checkup, that, check this out, and just knowing about the health of my relatives and other people's health and reading about things, it's like, to me personally speaking, I'd rather know what's coming than just walking in blindly years later. So if there's any way, this, whether it's like me changing up my health habits or, exercise or diet to avoid all these factors. And of course, me being a Black man, and I'm now, even though I don't look like this, everybody, in my 40s, it's a lot of things, whether it's colon cancer, prostate cancer, anything. If it's up to me, I would love to get screened early for this if I could. Right. So this was something I looked at. Well, if I go through this research study, one, I can find out information to help myself, and two, maybe I can influence someone that's maybe sitting on the bench or actually thinking about some of these things to say, hey, this seems like and like you said, it's free information that you wouldn't have to necessarily, like you said, to go get genetic testing and everything done. And one thing I want to say too, I guess we didn't mention in this is beyond, this is not like a 23andMe everyone either.
No,
so
right.
This is a very, detailed, find out about yourself in ways, or even, and it also be helpful for your family members, even if they don't go through it, because you have the same DNA to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like my reasons for really kind of going through it. Is I'm very excited. And I definitely want to tell, my fellow African brothers and sisters and American brothers and sisters, and also any communities of color, to go through this because, like you said, medicine can't be a one size fits all.
Right.
And also medicine can't be, a constant. One thing I always hear people always talk about when it refers to African Americans, like we all got high blood pressure. That's just like one fit. Oh, everybody got high blood pressure. Not looking deep into other reasons why other people can have high blood pressure. So,
and everybody does, and all Black people don't have high blood pressure. And but there are a lot of blood pressure medications that are out there that may or may not work with a 40 plus, a 40-year-old Black man. So knowing, again, back to the diversity of the participants, and when I say diversity, I'm not just talking about race and ethnicity. I'm talking about gender and age and where one lives. And we're talking about those who may be living with a disability or chronic illness. Even diversity, even being with those who have higher incomes than others. Like all of these things are considered to be a part of what the All of Us research program wants to see as a diverse participant population in the study. So it's important for Black men to be a part of the All of Us research program or any research activity. And I know and I understand that there are lots of hesitations to that and why. But if we are going to improve health outcomes for everyone, then all types of people have to be involved in the opportunity for that to happen. And so I applaud you for enrolling in the study and participating in that way. And I look forward to kind of following your journey and what it is that you learn and from your own participation in All of Us.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward if I'm able to do this when I sit down with the genetic counselor, because I think that's a very unique, when I first heard about that, I was like, genetic counselor? I'm like, oh, man. But I think, you probably do need to sit down with someone because the information that you're giving somebody, it's kind of like, whoo, it's like,
yeah, it's like, what does this mean? And what can I do with this? And how do I use this information in order to either do something different, or are things I just need to continue to pay attention to later or share with my family, et cetera. I've heard this analogy used in some meetings before, and I talk about this all the time. I think it's a great analogy. We do a really good job of things like going to the eye doctor, getting our eyes examined, getting a prescription for eyeglasses that are uniquely for your eyes. And sometimes the strength of the lens may be different from even one eye to the other, because I wear glasses and the strength of my lenses are different from left to right eye. We do that. We walk away with this individualized prescription for our eyes. We don't necessarily always, we don't do that well for other aspects of health. So back to your hypertension comment, yes, there are a lot of people of color who have hypertension, but there are a lot of people of color who don't. There are lots of medications to address hypertension, but they may not all work the same for everyone. So it's, you have hypertension, take this pill. If it doesn't work, we'll just find another one because there are 50 other ones out here, when we could be doing a much better job of actually looking at lifestyle behaviors, where you live, because sometimes if you live in an area that has like heavy pollution or something, that can cause some vascular issues. So there are lots of things that we just need to understand better in order to provide better treatment and support to people. So we do it good and we do it well in some ways, and we don't do it well in other ways.
Okay. Well, Dr. Allen, thank you for coming on. Where's the website? I'm gonna have the website pretty much everywhere. You're probably gonna see in the intro video. What's the website if somebody wants to sign up?
For All of Us? So there are a couple of places where one can go. So you can, just allofus.nih.gov, but then there's also an All of Us a site specifically for UAB, and I'm pulling it. Sorry, I didn't have that one up. Excuse me. And that one is allofus.nih.gov. www.uabmedicine.org.
Okay. Well, Dr. Allen, thank you so much for coming on today. I enjoyed this conversation. Like, I've been very looking forward to it. You're always welcome to come back again. And like people say, this is like an ongoing research program throughout, next couple of years. And also, matter of fact, we probably might do another segment because
Sure.
discuss my results in so many ways. So if you're all on the fence, please do this. Not only do it for yourself, but also do it for your loved one as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So just kind of think about that, everyone. And thank you all for watching this video. Please check out what's happening Birmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out the audio version of this interview on Apple Podcasts today. Thank you all again. And let's join the All of Us research program, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.